your home office?
I'm at my office. My home has an internet that is
That's right. You were telling me
crazy.
about it.
Yeah. So I just come into the office to make sure. Tyler's trying to get a different network for me, but we live right on a ranch right next to the mountains, and it's like unstable is what it's called.
How far is that from your other house that you just moved from?
12 minutes. And that was down sort of in the valley, and I just moved over by the mountains.
And how far is your new property?
From there, about 30 minutes south. So from the office, it's about an hour south.
But you don't need any more anyway in office, do you?
No, we haven't had a meeting in the office since March the 14th. That was our last meeting.
Yeah, yeah. And your business has grown. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, things are going great. Thank God for Primerica.
Isn't that the truth? And Zoom.
Yeah.
You know, at one time, where would we be today if we gotten into Zoom 20 years ago?
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be real about it. I met you when I was a district, and I didn't have not only cell phone, we didn't have a fax machine. Don't you remember?
I do. And we did great.
Well, we beat Prudential.
Yeah. And people today, you're historic when you know what a blue bag is. People have no idea what a blue bag.
Yeah. And they probably have no idea about snail mail either, huh?
Oh. And lost urine specimens.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you know, if somebody got a promotion, we'd send it in, but it would take about 10 days for them to get it, and then about 5 days or 6 days for us to know. So everybody would just stop and wait, you know. To me, the fact that I can promote somebody and they're at that level the next day, it's like, let's go.
I remember years ago, a guy named Bob Miller would say, I don't even know the day we get paid. I said every time I saw a mail truck, I salivated. Because it was a surprise. It was like a Cracker Jack box. You didn't know what to get when you got your paycheck, right? Well, I didn't know I got a charge back. And
that's right.
Got a paycheck. It was a surprise.
But all I know is when we walked to school through the snow, back and forth. It was worth it.
I love your top. It looks beautiful on you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Color. We finished late last night, and I got up this morning so I could make sure to get through traffic and get here, because I'm excited to be with you and your team this morning.
You know, we're thrilled, and I keep thinking about the message you're going to give us and how it will revolutionize a person's life when they engage in it. And one of the things I hope you mention is, when did you first engage in this concept of the multiples and fall in love with them? Like Art said, it blew his butt out of the water.
Yeah.
And some people have never discovered the multiples, and they're still out there trying to do it on their own.
Well, you know, that's all I've ever known, Bill. Rich brought me up that from day one. When you asked me that, I would say from day one, you know, because.
Well, we'll say about all that till you get going, because I want to hear where it came from. Okay. And how it served you and caused you to have all you have today. And it was hard to believe that, you know, there's a good chance we won't even see each other till next June. Maybe with the.
I know. And that's the hardest part for me of all of this, really. You know, I was telling people, I just miss seeing people at the office and giving them a hug and taking a picture. And I mean, that, you know, that connection part of it has been, we get to see each other on Zoom and stuff like that, but there's a difference. There's a difference.
Yeah, I remember that dinner we had at your house when I was there, and beautiful home, and people could only understand. I know you're building a bigger, better, nicer place, but right in the middle of a vineyard, Imagine a house in the middle of a vineyard.
Yep.
Staggering, just
Well,
unbelievable.
you know, especially when you grew up in a military family and you're always the kid in group 3 and reading.
Yeah. Right. Well, we're going to get started in about 1 minute, and
Okay.
you know, Cheryl, it's amazing the influence you've had on this company, not just your own hierarchy, but on the company, because the company has to trust certain people. It can't listen to everybody. And you've taken the trust they've given you that will influence us in their decisions. And they've been served well by that small group of people that they talk to, and you're one of them. You know, I know before they make decisions, they call a certain group of people, and you're one of them. And you know, the word icon can be described with you. And you know, I was thinking another word. You are the face of Primerica, because Primerica likes to use you to show the world this is what we're like. You want to see what we're like? Meet Cheryl Bartlett.
Wow.
And so, you know, you've always been a favorite speaker of mine. And if you ever anybody's on this call, been to a convention, any Primerica meeting, the most precious honor you can have is speaking on the closing night. And you don't even remember the number of times you've closed out the session on Saturday night at a convention, because you're a cornerstone part of this company and truly an icon and the Mount Rushmore of Primerica. We don't have just 4, but you're definitely one of them. So thank you very much for coming. Wow. Cannot wait to have you share with us today, Cheryl. And for everyone, on November the 7th, Cheryl and Brad Gerard and myself will all conduct a multiples fast start school. And you'll be hearing more about that. So Cheryl, tell us how you got into the multiples and why they're a way of life. And I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, well, Bill, you know, first of all, I just want to thank you for your kind words. I'm so glad this is being recorded. I'll listen to it 3 or 4 times. But you know, likewise, I was a district leader and was in a base shop that was one of probably the top recruiting base shop in the nation. And Bill Orender came. I didn't know anybody in the company at all. We didn't have sort of the communication channels we have today. This would have been in 1980, the beginning of 1984, I believe. And I got to meet Bill Orender. And we have been, somehow there are just certain people you connect with. And Bill has always been my hero. Anytime we go to any event, there are just certain people that I look to find, just exactly what Bill was saying. Yeah. You go, okay, I've gotten a chance to see Bill, hug Bill. Now the meeting has started. And he and Carol, to me, are like the perfect Primerica partnership. Carol Orender is just an American original, you know, yeah. And to be able to stay in their home and just feel the love in their home and enjoy just sitting around their kitchen table and talking and all that kind of stuff. You know, I talk to people and I say, I went full time when it made no sense at all. I didn't get off to a fast start. It took me 6 months to get 3 recruits and make 3 sales. I just moved to San Jose 2 months before I started. I really didn't know anything about business or whatever. I worked with developmentally disabled children, but I wanted to be somebody. And I was really looking, you know, it was the right time for me. And when I got in to Primerica, what I knew was that I didn't know. I put my pride in my back pocket, and I was a real student of the business. And so I have been blessed with an incredible team of leaders. We have just awesome people. Bill, you know many of them personally, the Martins, you know, Gary and Coletta, and Charles and Carolina were with us when we came to visit you, and Josh and Tracy and all. And, you know, when you've got good people, the people who come into Primerica don't come in as some kind of rock star or something like that.
Yeah.
Most of us come from that real average background. It's just that we don't have the average heart. We got the heart of a champion, and all we want is just a chance. Just give us a chance to prove that we can handle responsibility. And so as we started and all, there wasn't anything that was easy for me. Quite honestly, the whole thing for me was like, I felt like a stranger in a strange land. I'd never done prospecting. I'd never set appointments. I'd never done these things. And it really, as I started, I wanted to go from knowing nothing to being really good at what I was doing. And that wasn't the case. I learned that, after I never missed a meeting, I got there early. I would set up the entire meeting like it was my meeting. I saw myself immediately. I wanted to have the big base shop like I was growing up in, and so I would treat it as mine. I would show up. I sat on the front row with my little tape recorder that I had, and I taped everything, and I would take notes. So when I'd get home, I'd fill it in, and I'd think, when I'm a vice president, I'm going to say it this way, I'm going to say it that way. What I learned was that everything he was saying is exactly the way I should say it. But I said I did exactly. I did not vary from what Rich did, and I think it was one of the keys to our success. I just fell in love. I came to the company because I wanted to make money. A friend that I'd gone to college with, bugged me for about a year and a half, and I had left California and moved to New York for a year, and then decided I really didn't want to live there. So I moved back to California, and it was the first week that I was back, and somebody at a party prospected me, and I joined. So I called my friend who'd been trying to get me in for a year and a half, and of course she cussed me up one side and down the other. But anyway, it ended up that I was working with Rich, and I just feel, I just thank God every day that I had the courage, that I had the faith, that I went for it. When I went full time, it made no sense at all. Ronnie Barnes, who had been my high school teacher, because we were in school, I went to school in Warner Robins, we were at Robins Air Force Base there, came, and I'll never forget, I was sitting at this Mass Start School by myself, dying inside. I just had tried to get my 3 people there. They didn't show up, and I was sitting there. And Ronnie, we had worked closely together because I was a cheerleader and he was a, sponsor of the pep club and the whole thing. And he said, Cheryl Bartlett's going to be a big RVP. It took everything I had not to just burst out crying at that point, because I wanted to win so bad and I really wasn't doing well. But he said something that changed my life. He said, you know what? You can change your life in 90 days. He said, there are just 1 or 2 things that are holding you back. Now, he was talking to the whole group, but it was like he was talking directly to me, right? He said, if there's 1 or 2 things holding you back, and he said, if you'll go at those 1 or 2 things for the next 90 days, like you never have before, he said, if your business isn't on its way and it isn't really happening, he said, I'll come back and take you to the finest restaurant in San Francisco. I'm naive enough to just believe that what he said. For me, it was prospecting, getting names and numbers, and making appointments. I'm a friendly person, but the thought of going out, intentionally getting a name and a number and then picking up this 400-pound phone just was something that intimidated the heck out of me. So anyway, I did those 2 things. Well, the first thing I did was I went and resigned my career. That's it, I'm going for it. And both my parents freaked out. My dad said, I told you not to quit your real job for 1 year. And it had been 6 months. And my mother went, you've got a pension, you've got security, don't do it. But I told him how I felt. I said, I go to the Primerica meetings, I'm excited. I know my future's bright. And I said, and then I go back to my job and it's like they put this big needle inside of me and just pull out all the life and energy I've got. I feel like I'm dying inside there, right? So my dad said, Cheryl, I think you should go for it. So I said, good. I resigned. And the first week, you know, they treated me like I had some kind of disease or something. People, I couldn't believe how ugly people were to me. Then the second week, they tried to get me to stay part-time. I thought, to me, Bill, I thought, pretty good idea. I have a little base, you know, half of what I'm making right now to kind of transition over. When they asked me that, I said, well, let me think about it. I didn't want to say, I'm going to talk to my dad. I'll let you know tomorrow. I said, well, let me think about it. I'll let you know tomorrow. So I called my dad. I go, hey, good news. He said, what? I go, they're offering me a part-time position so I could have a little base while I'm transitioning over. He goes, you can't do it. I'm like, what? He said, you can't do it, Cheryl. He said, you can't steal second with your foot on first. He said, if you're going to do it, then you got to, you know, you got to cut the apron strings and you go for it. He said, if not, just stay a state employee. Now that there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want. Right, Bill? But to me, that was like putting a dagger in my heart. I wanted to be somebody. I didn't want to be a state employee. So I said, no, I got it. I got it. I went in and said, yeah, I've been thinking, I think I'll just leave in my resignation. And, you know, people made fun of me. People mocked me. Oh yeah, what are you gonna do? Earn 100,000 or like that, you know? And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. And I look back now, some 37 years later, and I just feel sorry for those people who mocked me. I mean, look at the last 37 years, what we've done, Bill. We beat Prudential. We became part of American Can. You know, we became part of Citigroup. We're now an independent New York Stock Exchange company, part of the Fortune 1000. My God, it's unbelievable what we've done. I'm so proud of that, and I feel sorry for those people who were so small-minded and stuff that they gave me a bunch of grief when I wanted to grab the brass ring. I wanted to be somebody, and they couldn't just be happy for me wanting to try to do something better. And the thing that I know financially, obviously, probably most of them are broke, just statistically, but it's not just the money, Bill. Spiritually, I think they're broken, right? I think that they played safe. They played life in the slow lane. They just never, ever went for it. They never had a contest they tried to win. They never went for their promotion. And they just never, you know, they didn't get the juice out of life, the excitement out of life. And I look back and spiritually, I think they're broken, you know, and all I know is I look back on the last 37 years and the incredible friendships of anything that I can tell you that is the most important award that I have won. It is the friendships with the extraordinary, successful leaders that I've had a chance, like Bill and Carol Orender, you know, like Red and Bobby, like Bobby and Red Buisson. And I could start naming off all these names, Bill and Leslie, and all these names of people who they're close friends of mine, Mike and Marna, you know, all these people who are friends of mine, Francis and Kip and Carol, and these people are, I mean, you want to talk about big, man, these people are big. And I got a chance to constantly be able to be in their presence and study them and emulate them, you know, emulate how they talked and how they thought about things and how they treated people and all those things. And I was just the best copycat in the world. I wanted to be like them. And that's all I did, you know. If they said something, I'd write it down and I'd just start including it in my talks, you know. To me, I look at Art Williams. Art Williams changed my life. I'll never forget the first time I heard Art, and he said, you know, he said, the odds are against us. And he said, you know, we probably won't make it. But he said, if we do, it's going to be big. I'd only been in the company a week, and he came to Long Beach, and somebody got me a ticket. Doug Hartman got me a ticket, you know, and I was able to go, and I looked at Art, and I listened to him say that. And he said, you know, I don't know if we can make it. If we do, it's going to be big. You know what I thought, Bill? I thought, I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to do it. And I want to be a part of that. I came because I wanted to make money. But what I fell in love with was the goodness of what we do, you know, the honesty of what we do, the rightness of what we do, and that extra knowing that what you do is right 100% of the time, to me, gives you that extra ounce of courage that you need to go on ahead and fight through it when you don't think you can do it. And you just do it anyway, because you know that there's a calling. I think it's a calling, especially right now. My goodness gracious. You know, people need us now more than they ever have. I feel sorry for people who don't join us. And I don't know that the economy is going to get better. I don't know it's going to get worse. I don't know what it is. All I know is over the last 40 years, we've broken every record in the industry, and we're breaking every record that we've ever broken. In a time when industries are going down and companies are going out of business, I mean, you feel like a total dud if you're not jumping 1 or 2 diamonds a month. You know, so anyway, I just keep showing up and giving it my best. And I know I need to get into my talk, but I just wanted to kind of give you, you know, Bill, my perspective. You said, when did you start with the multiples? The first day I walked in. That's all I've ever been taught.
Well, Cheryl, I know that you've stayed true to the belief system, and you've not wavered. You've not fallen for all the flavor of the days. And look what they're doing, despite of who the leadership was that tried to get us away from all this. Yeah. And I can't like to tell you I didn't, but I did. You know, I've fallen away, but I always go back to my first love. Yeah. Yeah. So talk about how those multiples have served you, and why how they can serve other people.
Yeah, I've got a PowerPoint that I'll show you. I think the main thing we've all got to just kind of write down and stamp in our brain is simplify to multiply. People always give me advice on what I should do with this and what I should do with that and whatever. And I just smile and tell them, thank you, I appreciate your advice. But what they don't know is that I don't run a boutique. I run a factory, right? I run a McDonald's. I want a cookie cutter. I want it so simple and so redundant, and I don't tire of repetition, right? I love hey, to tell you the truth, when I found out that all I had to do was learn this 1 or 2 things here and say it over and over and over and over again, I'm like, I can do that. And really, that's what it is. People tire of the repetition and they want to make it, put bows and ribbons on it and this and that, whatever. But the truth of it is, the simpler that we can keep it. The magic in our company happens when people say, when the new person goes, oh, I can do that, right? And if we just keep it simple enough, you know, that's exactly what we'll get here. So let me just get in here and see if I can get rid of this, and there we go. Good. So you guys can see my screen, okay? Perfect. Okay, great. So what we're going to talk about is building a giant distribution system where recruiting never stops. You know, and what Bill is talking about, the way you do that is through the multiples. See, what you can't control is when you recruit 10 people, because 10 is the ticket on the bus. Until you're getting 10 recruits, we love you. But when your company starts getting, and you're responsible for getting those 10 recruits a month, right? That's when you're gonna get a little bit of traction, because you can't control the fact out of those 10 people, 10 are going to quit. About the time they, you know, send the IVA up into the universe, they're going to quit. You know, 2 of them are going to quit with a couple of weeks later. Yeah, that's not Texas. That's not California. That's not Timbuktu. That's just the way it is. 2 of them are going to hang out. You know, they're going to be Primerica fans, and they're going to show up at all the training. And I love those people. I love everybody. 2 of them will get licensed, right? If you focus on licensing, and also they should be able to get a bonus and stuff like that. And one's going to be a player. The numbers are the numbers. This was a hard thing for me to accept in the beginning, because I'm telling you, when I went full time, I was exuberant. I was like born again, preaching to everybody. I was excited, you know, because I just thought everybody would join, and everybody I saw I thought would be an RVP. And I think that we've got to understand the numbers, but not be jaded by the numbers. I think that we've got to really understand that, you know, man, people, everybody can win. They got to determine that. So you can't control the ones that quit, but what you can control is you getting 10 people into your company each month. Okay. So the way you build a company within a company, this is our hierarchy. It's a little dated because we've got like 50 RVPs now. But you can see here where, you know, this is one part of our hierarchy. Gary and Coletta Martin is another part of our hierarchy. Leo Suarez is another part of the hierarchy. Brian and Christine Holman, the Politos, the Kesslers are another part of our hierarchy. You know, so you can see various, a lot of RVPs haven't promoted an RVP yet. You know what? They're living their dream, they're successful, and I hope they promote RVPs. That's what we talk about. But what I'm going to talk to you about today is how we built that. You know, in the last 12 months, we've issued over 1.6 billion in face amount, and that makes me proud. You know, the total face amount that we have in force is nearly 9.5 billion. These are a little bit dated right now, but this is the thing I'm the most proud of. We have paid really right now nearly $118 million in death claims, right? The recreation major who took 6 months to get 3 recruits and 3 sales has been able to put together an organization where we would go in and they would either have 0 life insurance or they'd have some little $10 or $15 or $20,000 whole life policy, and we went in and delivered a $200,000 or $300,000 or $400,000 check. And that's what makes me proud. You know, people who'd been, you know, taken advantage of. We went in and corrected that injustice, and we have delivered nearly $118 million in death claims, nearly $560 million in assets under management, made over 20 million in income. And I mean, how about the equity shares that we get? Absolutely incredible that we can also earn Primerica stock. So the thing that I loved when I saw this was that I didn't have to play politics. I didn't have to go to cocktail parties. I didn't have to kiss up to anybody. I had a very set of benchmarks that I could go for and I could focus on and I could hit. And that's what each one of us have. At your job, you can't go, hey, I want to be a vice president. If I double down, can I do that in the next 12 months? They go, no, you have to be here 10 years before you in the program, before you do such and such. Not here. And you have to know clearly where you're at and what you want to do next. And you've always got to have that next goal, right? So the first part of the ladder of success that you need to focus on is your $50,000 watch. Right? That President's Council where you get that watch. I mean, man, are you kidding me? That's not just any watch. That says I have reached the first rung on that ladder of success. And you know, we live in the Silicon Valley. I had somebody say, one of our VPs, right, just got their watch, you know, they gotten promoted and like 2 months later, they got their watch. And I was excited. And somebody said to me, Cheryl, listen, to me, it's not very exciting because I already earned like, I don't know, 85,000 or 90,000. Why would I be excited about a watch? I said, because next year you're going to earn 85 or 90, and next year, the year of that, you're going to, and Esmeralda will be over 100,000 by the end of the year. That's what's exciting about it, because she's going to grow, right? Being a regional vice president, you're a future owner. There are no junior RVPs. man, RVP is the place to be. And then you get your $100,000 club rank. I'll never forget when I got my $100,000 club rank. I think I slept with my $100,000 club rank. I think I took showers with my $100,000 club rank. Nobody in my family, I don't think it ever earned 100,000. I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. And let me tell you something. Everybody's like, when are you going to get to the million? When are you going to get to the million? Let me tell you something. It's a big deal when you're free and you're independent and you earn 100,000 a year, because really that's the hardest part. When you learn how to earn $100,000 a year, you can earn like 200 and 300 and the whole thing. So, and then when you earn 250, man, you get to go to the senior leadership meeting, you get a bigger picture in the book. You know, I mean, there are very tangible things that are accomplishments and things you should be proud of, and you should go for these things. And then 300,000. Man, when you're at 300,000, you have got full ownership. You own your business. Nobody can put you under their thumb, right? You are free, and you said the American dream is to own a business. And think about it. With ours, anybody I know has got their kids in the business. You can make a generation to generation, investment. You can pass that through. I mean, that is, most people wouldn't even believe you could do something like that. And we've got people who are getting there just in record amounts of time. And then the next thing, of course, is national sales director. As a national sales director, you're usually at least at about 500,000. That's a major milestone. Man, when you hit 500,000, even when you're at 100,000, you're at the top of the richest country in the world. And then 300,000, you've separated yourself. But 500,000, wow. Major milestone. And then you become a senior national sales director, and you're on to like 750. The Kesslers are a senior vice president right now, and they've been over 700,000 now for the last year or so, and are on their way to national sales director. Hold real high standards on promoting and stuff. But 750,000, you're a senior now, and really that you have achieved greatness. If you're a senior national sales director, that's great. You've done something great with your life because you've helped 9 people start a business that they can have full ownership of. And there's no higher calling to me. The greatest gift you can give somebody is to teach them the basics of how to run a Primerica business. And then $1 million a year, man, you're a Primerica giant. You get the red ring. I mean, life is good. You're on your way. So we've got to be clear on what our benchmarks are, and then understand that the rapid, relentless repetition of these simple recruiting steps we're going to talk about will lead to the inevitable building of a giant distribution system. Let's look at these words for a second. Rapid is the key. Rapid is you want to take whatever you can do next week, do it this week. Whatever you can do tomorrow, do it today. Get it done. Create momentum. It's more fun to drive in the fast lane than it is the slow lane, because you create momentum, and momentum begets momentum. What does relentless mean? It means it doesn't make any difference if the sun is shining, if it's raining, no matter what it is, you're on it. You're relentless, and you refuse to lose. And when you hit an obstacle, you're going to go over it, under it, around it, through it. You're not going to back off. And then that repetition, right? Repetition is the mother of learning. And you just want to do it over and over and over and over, and just think and be on your A game every time you do it, because guess what? It's the first time that somebody else has heard it. So that's important. You do those things, and inevitable means that's going to happen, of a giant distribution system. How does it all start? Folks, it's so simple, right? People overcomplicate it. They've got to get this license. They got to get that license. They got to completely understand this. They got to completely understand that. I mean, I want you to understand on that, but let's keep the main thing the main thing. It's you consistently each month getting 3 and helping them get 3. That's what it takes. This is exactly, Bill, from day one, what I was taught. Get 3 and help them get 3. Get 3 and help them get 3. Now, let me tell you something. This is a simple business. I'm not saying it's an easy business. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But I'm saying it's a simple business. It's 3 to get 3. Now, it's as simple as 1, 2, 3. You got your game plan. So you recruit directs, build them teams, develop independent field trainers. And then you've got your startup plan, your associate startup, your fast start, whatever you call it, getting that top 25 list, making that top 10, right? And then maxing out your field training bonus. I can't even believe the field training bonus we have and how totally awesome it is. So you build a team by identifying and developing people. And what you got to do is map out your schedule, starting part-time, right? And then with that new recruit, you get their top 25, right? Now, let me just tell you something on this top 25. Folks, it's not the 124. That is the startup capital for this business. Forget that, right? This is the equivalent of like a $1 million, $2, $3 million franchise. Right? The startup capital is your list and your time. So the bigger the list and the more the time, the faster you can get there. Well, Cheryl, how much money will I make? Very simple. If you put a little in, you get a little out. If you put a lot in, you get a lot out. The challenge is at your job, you can give it everything you got. You're going to make the same amount of money. Maybe you get a little overtime or something like that. Right? So you start with your top 25 and you qualify the top 10, right? And you want to make sure that you're working in the right market. Make sure you're working with people who have a job, right? They have children, they have dependents. You know, in our area, many of our people don't own a home yet. But the reason they come to work with us is to buy a home. Real estate in California is ridiculous. Okay, but they've got a job. They've been around for a while. They've got some credibility. And when you get that, when you get your top 10 list, folks, if they have any credibility at all, you'll get 6 clients and 3 recruits. Pretty much that's the way it worked. It's a hot market. You get in. So let's say you get them, they're 3 recruits, and with that they get 6 clients. And then for these 3, guess what you do? The exact same thing. You help them, you take those 3 recruits, get their top 10, and from that 3, you're going to help them get 3, that's 9. But it's not like you have 9 recruits and 0 sales. The reason that we recruit is that it's an easier way to sell because we're constantly working in that warm market, right? But you get 3 and help them get 3, and that's 9, 18 clients. You help those 9 get 3, that's 27, but you should be having at least 54 clients. Those 27, you get 81, okay, because now you've got 27 new recruits. You help them get 3, that's 81, but you also have clients. You also have clients. So people are looking, you know, but Cheryl, you don't understand. I have to make money. Yeah, what I understand is get your 3 and help them get 3. It's the fastest way to make money and to go on ahead. And now you're tapping into the multiples. So cross out, just tell people, what are the times you can't work Primerica? Now it's a completely different thing because it used to be they were at their job, right, in the office from like 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. That part was gone. That is not the case now. There's an abundance of time. People have more time because they're working at home. You know, a lot of people are still working at home. Or where we live, most people are working at home, right? And so you can go on ahead and get a little bit of time here and there and stuff like that. Let's talk about the 4 activity pipelines. And as you look at this process, you know, I remember when I was a kid growing up and it was hot. We lived in San Antonio a couple of times, right? And it was hot, right? And so we didn't have like a pool or anything, but we would turn on the sprinkler and we'd put on our bathing suits and we'd run through the sprinkler on a hot day and stuff like that. Well, you go out, you got the sprinkler out in the yard, you go on, you turn on the hose bib, the sprinkler doesn't go on right away. What happens is you turn it on and there's a lag. However long the hose is, there's a lag because there's no water in the hose. Okay, and then all of a sudden that sprinkler goes, and then the sprinkler goes. It's because you got that pipeline full, right? And that's the challenge, is that a lot of people, they don't realize that the name of the game, the winning game, is consistency. So you got to consistently load these 4 pipelines every day and keep that moving. The first one is your names, right? This is your inventory. When people come in, right, they give you a list of names. That's part of your inventory. And what you got to do is you got to organize your contacts, and you got to continuously add to your inventory every day. Most people, the last time they made a prospect list was a long time ago. That prospect list has got to be a living, breathing thing. If you had a grocery store, you'd make sure that they were making deliveries, and you'd make sure somebody was stocking those shelves, because that's your inventory. Our inventory here is people. If you've been on board any time at all, you've got a warm market list. You've got existing clients. You've got new associates list. You've got referrals. You can do prospecting. A lot of people, I personally don't use social media. I think it's fine to use social media. I just don't use it that much, but we have a lot of people who are getting terrific results by prospecting on social media. There's a blueprint for social media that Peter Schneider and his team put together that's terrific. It's got everything is approved, and you can just plug and play. It's awesome. Every day, you got to be adding names to your inventory, right? Through a new recruit, through referrals, through people that you meet, through people you're referred to. The second thing is appointments, right? All full-timers as a minimum should set 5 appointments a day consistently, right? Part-timers 2 or 3 a day consistently. And if you listen to me, it's consistency that creates that productive activity. I think that right now with Zoom, most of the people I know are looking at making 10 appointments a day, because you just don't have to drive all over the place. It really is, it's much more efficient, right? And then the third pipeline is your presentations. All full-timers as a minimum need to be on 5 presentations a day. If you're part-time, maybe, if you're full-time, you know, maybe it's like 2 kitchen tables and 3 recruiting interviews. I think that, again, because of Zoom, if you want to accelerate, if you want to collapse timeframes, you can certainly do more than that. It really is about expectations. You know, if you expect to do 8 or 10 presentations a day, you will. If you expect to do 5 a day, you will. If you expect to do 2 a day, you will. It's all about expectations. Here's the thing you got to remember. You can't do a presentation until you've made an appointment. You can't make an appointment if you don't have names. So it starts with names, appointments, presentations, and that's what leads to the closes. And all full-timers as a minimum should close 1 direct and make 3 insurance sales a week. If you're working, I mean, first of all, folks, if you're a business owner, it's not 9 to 5. You know, it's not like, oh, okay, I've worked my 8 hours, now I'm going home. That is not how it works, right? Highly compensated professionals don't work 9 to 5. First of all, they work weekends, holidays, evenings, right? Think about anybody you know makes a lot of money, where it's somebody that plays for the Dallas Cowboys, or somebody that plays for the Niners, or whoever your favorite entertainer is. When do they play? When do they sing? When all the middle class people have gotten home from their little jobs and they're sitting there with their TV dinner, right, watching TV, that's when the people who make the big bucks show up. That's who we are. Part-timers as a minimum, 1 direct and 1 insurance sale. You can't make a close if you haven't done a presentation. You can't make a presentation without appointments. It all comes down to names and numbers, and you can never have too many names and numbers. Let's talk about our game plan. Our game plan is to recruit directs. These 3 people are called directs because they report directly to you. And when you recruit those 3 directs, the second step is you want to build them a team. So when I talk about you get 3 and you help them get 3, that's how it looks. And it doesn't look like that all the time. It could look like this. It can definitely look like this. It can also look like this. That's 3. It can also look like that. That's 3. But your job is to take that one person and turn them into 3. Let me just sidestep for a second and let you know that you want to do this to prove to the new person it works. That's your first priority, to prove to them it works. The second thing you want to do, and for me, because I'd only lived in the area 2 months, right, what you want to do is you want to go on ahead and make sure, folks, if you can get 3 like that, like when I first went full time, I thought everybody would be an RVP. And then after a while, I learned, oh, it's not only they're not going to be an RVP, most of them are going to quit. So what I've got to do is I've got to immediately, so I don't have to go back and start at square one. I've got to immediately get 3 people underneath them. I got a better chance of them not quitting if I do that. But guess what? Quitters quit. And if they quit, and I've gotten them 3 directs, now I've got 3 directs to me, where instead of 1, I've now got 3. And I don't want them to quit. And I try to convince them not to quit. But if they quit, because they usually do, now I've got 3 directs. And that's how I've gotten a lot of width that I've got, because I have more people who've quit on me than anybody. So that's the way to do that. The magic of taprooting and the basics of building is that a recruit isn't a recruit till they have a recruit, right? The basics of building a Primerica business, you can get a lot of recruits and not be successful. You can make a lot of sales and not be successful. You got to understand that your job is distribution. And when you get a recruit isn't a recruit till you have a recruit. Right? Now, welcome to the team. We're proud to have you on board. You're official when you have somebody underneath you, right? And then what you got to do is talk to them about the taproot system. Let me just sidetrack for a minute. The taproot system is this. As tall as a tree is, if this is the ground, right, there's a root that is as deep in the ground as it is above the ground. And that's called the taproot. And the purpose of the taproot is to provide stability for the tree, for the organization, and provide nutrients for that tree. Okay, but in order for the taproot system to work in Primerica, you have to become the depth force that pushes that strength and vitality through each level of your organization. And you got to make sure that the new person understands we're going to surround you with good people, right? You surround yourself with good people. This is me. This is the new person. I tell them, we're going to surround you with good people. My job is to move them off that list into your business. Folks, this is how you teach how to recruit and train. What we're doing is fun. It's a PowerPoint. It's this, that, whatever. But when you're actually helping get that person's list, helping them make appointments, right? Sitting down and showing them how to do a presentation, doing a debrief afterward. When you go in, it's a recruiting presentation. It's not a sales presentation. You're going to make a sale, but it's like, I'm excited. I've started this business. Let me show you what I'm doing. If you like it, it's something you can work. We can work together. You can actually build a business together. You can own a business, right? Let me show you what we're doing. And then you go through your presentation. At that point, I can't force them to join. They're going to do one of 2 things. They're going to join or they're going to become a client. If they join, they're going to give me a list. If they become a client, they're going to give me referrals. They get to decide. But I can approach them, right, as a, as I remember, I know that I've heard very clearly that when you make a recruiting approach, you're going to get a client 65% of the time and a recruit 28% of the time. If they have any credibility. If you use a recruiting approach, 65% you'll make a sale and 28% recruit. If you use a sales approach, 46% of the time, you'll get a sale. 16% of the time, you'll get a recruit. So I think that it's, smart for us to go on ahead and make sure that we're always using, that recruiting approach on that. Okay, so let's go on ahead and look at this part of it, the depth force, right? So what you do is you let the person know, okay, we're going to surround you with good people, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to work and help one of your people here, and we're going to surround them with people, and you and I are going to be kind of hand in hand on this. and you're going to watch and observe everything that I do, right? This is duplication. When people say we're in the duplication business, this is duplication. This is how you teach how to recruit. I'm teaching this person how they watched me here, and they're kind of watching me here, and guess what? Now I'm going to be able to press down some of those skills. I'll continue to be that depth force, but now they've already learned how to get a list. They can go on ahead and get a list. They've learned how to set an appointment. They can go on ahead, and I'm pressing down those skills. Bill, do you want to jump in on any part of this before, or you want me to just keep rolling, or you want to talk about?
Keep going. I think it's fabulous and iconic. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. All right, good. So then the magic of tap rooting is understand is that a leg isn't a leg until it's 4 deep. I don't know why it is. If I release this clicker, if I let go of this thing, it's going to fall to my desk. It is not going to go to the ceiling. It's going to fall to the desk. And why is that's a principle. Gravity is a principle. So is 3 to 4 deep on a leg. So what you do is you go 3 or 4 wide and go 3 or 4 deep. The quicker that you can get, because everybody you talk to will say, just go wide, everything will take care of itself. You have to have width before you can have depth. But if you want to, when I was never the greatest personal recruiter, but let me tell you something. I could build a relationship. I could get an immediate friendship. I could get them to trust me and like me. They knew I was going to take that list, and I promised I'd give them my best to deliver for them. And we went on ahead and got somebody underneath them, right? And when we got that person, we made a friendship, right? We found out what their goals and dreams were. They trusted us and liked us. They gave us a list. We got another one. I don't know why it is. Practically all of our RVPs have come around the 3rd or 4th level. And I said this one time, I said, I've never recruited anybody direct who's gotten to RVP. And Bill Tyler goes, me, I got to RVP. And Jessica goes, she didn't recruit you, I did. So I've never recruited one person directly who became an RVP. But we got a lot of RVPs, and it's because we understand the width and depth. The width, it's almost like a rhythm. You go wide and deep, go wide and deep. And really, when you think about it, you know, you don't have to be that great of a recruiter to get one recruit. I mean, if you can take a list of 25, get the top 10 most ambitious people, and all you got to do is get one, give me a break. You don't have to be like, you know, Mika Saunders or Miguel Illich or these people who are just doing these incredible things. You can be like Cheryl Bartlett and just be kind of just a regular kind of recruiter, but you can get one. Not under everybody, but you can get one. And when you get that one, then you just get one. You get one. This person's like a grasshopper on a griddle. You've gotten all this fire from below underneath them, and they're going, I got this person. I got this. You don't have to tell them come to the meeting. They're coming to the meeting. Now, the magic of tap reading is that a team will have a life of its own once you find a leader. So if this is you and you recruit this champion, then what you do is you overlap and you recruit somebody for them. And they watch you. They got recruited and they watch you. And then what you do is you overlap and you recruit somebody for them. Okay, now for this person, you're in the addition phase right here. You're adding on. For this person, you're in the multiplication stage because you've gotten somebody underneath a direct for them. Multiplication's faster than addition. That's why you want to get the depth. And then what happens is this person goes, Cheryl, I got it. You're just saying the same thing. I'm excited. And what they do is that they jump in and they go in and they recruit this person. So what happens is that this champion can show up here. They can show up here. They can show up here. Let me tell you, you go, well, how do you know when you got that leader? How do you know? It is so obvious. They show up early, they stay late, they're excited all the time, they're willing to make mistakes and go forward, the whole thing. They're willing to do all that, and they jump in and they begin to perpetuate that taproot. This is how you harness geometric progression, because all of a sudden, when you get down 3 or 4 levels, it can take off like wildfire. That's the teams that have got these ridiculous recruiting numbers going right now. That's what they've got going. Okay. And so, but what you find is you, the leader, maybe it's this person right here who they go on ahead, they grab the ball, they begin to drive that depth down in there. And when they do, right, then you let them go on ahead and take that over. But you constantly, now you got that leg on maintenance. But you're constantly, maintenance is an ongoing thing. You're constantly watching it. And if that doesn't continue to go down, right, you jump right back in there and revitalize that leg. I remember Carolina said to me, Bill said, well, Cheryl, how deep should I drive it? I said to her, China, right? Don't stop going deep. When I went to RVP, I didn't have legs. I had 3 organizations. One of them was 19 deep. One of them was 17 deep. I had big legs and big organizations, right? And really, that's what you want to do to learn how to build to get to RVP. So the rapid, relentless repetition of these simple recruiting steps can lead to the inevitable building. So it's over and over and over and over and over, and just be grateful that it's that simple. What's number 1? It's prospecting. It's opening new markets. I'm going to spend, Bill, do we have an hour? I don't want to overdo my time. Do we have an hour?
It takes much time as you need. We're good. People
Okay.
get all you need to.
Okay. So, because I've got a section on prospecting, I think that's where most people get screwed up on. They don't have enough inventory. So I'll spend some time. We'll go over that. But the first one is opening new markets. The second one is the approach. The approach is teaching them how to do a simple, how to learn how to set appointments. That's sort of the first skill set the person needs to learn. Don't ever ask them to do something that you're not willing to do first for them, right? And then also prospecting is just getting a name and a number, setting an appointment, just getting a name. There's a difference in prospecting and recruiting. Sometimes people are out and they're like a land shark, right? It's like you're not recruiting at that point. You're prospecting. You get a name and number, you set an appointment, or if they got time right there and you can spend 20 minutes, you sit down. That's prospecting. That's the approach. The second one's a presentation in a group and then one-on-one. In a group and then one-on-one. Where 2 or more are gathered, so shall Primerica be. Okay? And then the follow-up. You follow up and follow up and follow up until they join, buy, or die. You get a recycle bin, and you go on ahead and you follow up on them. They followed up on me for 1.5 years, right? A lot of people I talked to they didn't join like the first time that somebody talked to them, right? The professional, the amateur will call somebody once or twice and they'll go, oh, well, they don't like me. They don't think it's good. I won't follow up. But the professional will follow up. And they understand you got to follow up a minimum of 8 times plus, right? And that's how you get results. The startup, you start them back on step 1, and then duplication is step 6, where again, you just do these over and over and over and over again, right? So let's talk about prospecting for a second. The first part of prospecting is friendship harvesting, right? And what you do is you harvest that warm market, right? You identify their top 25. You talk to them about their natural market. The difference, a warm market is your family, friends, work, socialized, church, school, people that know you, like you, and trust you. Just people you know. You may not know them, you know, like they're your best buddy, but they know you. The natural market is like Josh was a golf pro. So Josh can talk to anybody in the golf industry. If they play golf, if they work on a golf course, if they sell golf equipment, the architect can talk to the architect because they have that same language. They may not know them personally, but it's a natural market because they know the language, they know the person. Friendship farming is the second one. And this is where you create that new natural market, that new warm market. We talk about the 3-foot rule, right? When we're out and about prospect, because people are still out. Now, you still got to go to the grocery store and get gas and all like that. It's not like because of this thing, you can't stop prospecting. But the 3-foot rule says, if you look at somebody and you smile, if they smile back at me, my translation is Cheryl, recruit me. That's what that means, right? If they don't smile back, it's like, or they say, well, if you're 6 feet away, it's real simple. Just step in a step or two, give them a smile, and have something that opens that conversation. Simulated shopping. You know, you leave your purse in the car, you go in where people are. You have to go out of your home, or you got to use social media, you got to use old clients and stuff, but it's really just turning strangers into friends. People go, oh, I'm in the cold market. It's like, there is no cold market. There's no cold market. There are people that you don't know as well yet, but you know they have a dream in their heart, and you know they don't have a vehicle to make that dream come true. There's no cold market. These are people you haven't met yet. They're just going to turn strangers into friends. What a great business to have, of making as many friends as you can, right? And then business cards. Do you keep your options open if the money were right? FORM stands for family, occupation, recreation, message, or motivation. And that's just a little acronym of how to get to know people when you first meet them, right? To get to know them. The third thing then is the friendship borrowing system. Referrals are the lifeblood of the business. What helped me get my business started was Bob Saffer's third-party referral system. I learned how to use that. When I went in, I was more interested in getting the referrals than I was the check. I mean, I wanted the check, but I needed the referrals because I didn't have a warm market up here, and I had to get people that, you know, I could get some warmth in so I could go faster. We use the beneficiary referral system. It's been something terrific for us. We get emergency contacts. We get more referrals than we've ever gotten before. But we just got to remember the $1 million question. When people go, I'm not interested, I don't have time, it just isn't right for me, it's not my personality. It's like, okay, well, let me just, you know, I know that you know 3 or 4 people right now. This would mean the world to, right? Let me ask you something. Who do you know? Who comes to your mind first? You look down at your phone, like you're going to start putting numbers in, and they'll give them to you. STEAM method is just an acronym, again, for how to think about people. Who do you know in sales? Who's a teacher, enthusiastic, ambitious, motivated? You know, who are the kind of people? These are the kind of people that just you can kind of jog people's memory when they do that. And then prospecting with your client base, you know, your inactive clients. I just know that right now we're going back to our clients, and that should say inactive recruits, not inactive clients. We're going back to our inactive we're going back to our clients and our inactive recruit. A lot of our clients are becoming recruits right now, right? Things have happened. Things have really changed. And a lot of our inactive recruits, we go, look, we owe you a license. You only got 12 hours. You need 32. Let's get back in, finish this up, and go on ahead and show you how to make money, start making some money before Christmas this year. Okay. And then professional prospecting is just networking, you know, with real estate people, contractors, doctors, dentists, you know, and also not buying into the fact that, oh, whoa, Cheryl, they got a really good business. Oh, their business, I mean, they're really successful. They own 3 bun cake franchises, as an example, right? My friend tried to tell me, I said, listen, what you got to get in your mind is, I don't care how many franchises they own. They don't have a Primerica business. They have employees. They have to order supplies. What about supply chains right now? They can do everything right and get wiped out because the supply chain wipes out. Listen, my bank talks to their bank. That's it. That's it. I set them up, everything we got, you know, I think we got over 1,600 codes right now. They're not on my payroll. I don't pay them. The company pays them. We got the best business opportunity. We work in an industry where people make more money than any other industry. Don't try to tell me that they've got a business that you think is like, oh, they're really successful. They got this business. Their business is not as good as your business, but if you don't get it straight in your head that what you have is better than what they have, we're in the replacement business. Replace that business. Okay. And then event prospecting, you know, this obviously isn't happening as much right now, But, you know, there's still a lot of stuff that's going on online. So the rapid, relentless repetition of these simple recruiting steps can lead to the inevitable building of a giant distribution system. And guess what it all comes down to? Simplify to multiply. You get 3 and help them get 3. That's it. Bill. And you're on mute, Bill.
Can you put that last one up, Cheryl, with the rings?
Sure. Yeah, you bet. Absolutely. You know, I'll also show you what I learned about, let me get rid of this for you for a second. So that's out of the way.
All right. Got it.
Okay. You get it?
I got it. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to remind me, I'll show you something I learned last week that's so fun on how to how to do this. So you can actually get better shots. You know us, man, we're learning it every day, something new every day. So, hey, those are those things I think are what built the company, Bill.
Well, it built your business, built my business, and built our wealth and our 100-year income. You know, massive passive income.
Yeah.
The thing that when you first started out was have to take an average heart and turn it into a heart of a champion. And you have the heart of a champion, but you didn't come here with one. What was the progression? What caused you? Art Williams says you went with your heart, not your head.
Yeah.
And so much of what I hear from you is heartfelt. And how do you help people progress in that? Yeah,
you know, that's really that's a very important question. You know, because we're such a business of contradictions in a way. Leaders are made; they're not born. All I know is that if you look at the kid who always had a paper route, sold Christmas trees. I sold donuts door to door. If you look at kids who have that hustle or they're playing sports or something like that, you know, I don't know that we're looking for, it's not necessarily the highest degree. Somebody said to me, but I've got a master's in so-and-so. It's like, so what? You know, I got a guy who works in construction who's going to eat your lunch. Right? Yeah. Because he wants to be somebody. So I just know there's never been a test devised to measure the heart of a champion. But I think that what we've got to do is realize that instead of trying to take somebody who always wants to tell you why they can't do it, what's happened with them, this and that. I mean, there's a difference in timing and excuses. But I don't know, somehow you just take a scrapper, you just take somebody who, you know, they just want to prove to the world. And they've just got that desire and they may not look, I remember the story of the 165-pound tackle. And Art would say they might take him out in the first quarter, they might take him out in the second, but they don't love it like you do. And he'll show up and give you the game of his life because he plays with his heart. You know, it's more than just a business. And I think that's why we've been able to break the records, because the people who we have to remember about the filtering system. That's a whole different talk, because we approach the selective masses, but we filter them out. We filter them out because your time is your most important asset. You don't want to spend time with people who won't just have enough faith to believe and try.
You know, Cheryl, whenever I remember you, hear your name, I think of your face with the dynamite smile. You got $1 million smile, saying, I am the happiest person I love. And you mean it. And you're grateful. And it exudes. And talk about the power of gratitude. And once you start being grateful for all this, things start changing.
Yeah. Bill, I was very fortunate. You know, growing up in a military family, we didn't have a lot of money. We had a wonderful family life, but we didn't have a lot of money or whatever. But my mom always taught me things like, maybe it was just my generation, but think of the starving children in China. Eat your food on your plate. Think of the starving children in China. You know, you have to be grateful that you have shoes to wear to school and back. And when you get home, you change your school shoes into your play shoes. And what you got to do, and my dad taught me, you got a choice every day, Cheryl. You can walk down the road and look at a beautiful rose that's right there. It's right there. Or you can look at something laying in the gutter, and it's your choice. It's not like you wake up on the wrong side of the bed. So when you decide every day I'm reborn, every day is a gift from God. Every day I have a choice. I can be happy or I can be sad. I can be hopeful or I can be pessimistic. And I choose to be grateful. I thank God. I just, you know, I just feel like I did something right in my life to be put in the right place at the right time. It hasn't been easy. Probably the toughest things, the reason I love it so much was that it's been so tough. But when you overcome those adversities and mental toughness grows and grows and grows, there isn't anything you can't do. It's not that, Bill, I look at some of the adversity your family's been hit with, right? But I know there's no doubt in my mind, you're going to come through it. You're going to pull through it. You know you can count on me, and I know I can count on you. And that's because we have been filtered out by all these people who just didn't have the courage. They say the faith of a mustard seed. They just didn't have the faith to keep trying.
The people don't realize that you've been through a lot of adversity too in our business, with starts and stops and old guys leaving and your upline leaving and your upline leaving. Yeah. And left you with chargebacks from all the people they took, but you kept at it. But I keep going back, and I'll let you go on this one. Art Williams had 13 words that I believe built a company. And that's, I want to be somebody so bad it borders on being an obsession. And you started out, say, Bill, I just wanted to be somebody. What does that mean to you, to be somebody? And why is that such a cornerstone in your life?
Yeah. You know, to me, what that means is exactly what I just said. More than anything, when I first sat in that meeting, what I saw was a clean, wholesome family environment. I saw some place where I could play wide open. I didn't have to play politics. I didn't have to kiss up to people. I could show up and I could give it everything I had. That's what I wanted. I wanted something that I could wake up every day and go for it. Right? Yep. We've got this unit of time called life. Every day is a gift from God, and I think that we have to play with passion and purpose. And to me, when all of a sudden I realized that I had the power to change people's lives, right? To bring them in and put them through the paces and see if they were tough enough, right? And yeah, before ownership, that could never happen to the people who are listening to this right now, but before ownership, there was a time in Art Lab, everybody above me convinced everybody below me that they should lead the company. But there was something inside of me, and it was a very difficult time for the company. It wasn't like right now, you know, but there was something about it because I knew what we did was right. And if you'll do what's right and you'll live your life every day, you know, doing good deeds and helping people. I mean, to some people, maybe that sounds corny or something, but I believe that, Bill. And that's what I love about this company, that we can all work together. Our country needs us right now more than they ever have. Right. I think that everything we've ever done has been to prepare us for this moment. And I'm grateful. I swear to God, when I go to bed at night, I thank God for my health, for my happiness, that I've been in Primerica for 37 years, for all the people I've spent surrounded with, for my family, for our team. My goodness, you are looking at that. I don't just say it, it's true. You're looking at the happiest person in the world. What a great way to lead your life. And it isn't always easy. It isn't always easy. But when you have the guts enough to go through it, man, triumph is a great feeling.
Boy, you just infected us. You're contagious, and I'm so glad you're one of us.
Oh.
And now you know why, folks. She is the face of Primerica. Thank you very much.
Hey, Bill, you're my hero, Bill.
Well,
you're my hero, Bill. Always have been, always will be. Thank you, Bill. I'll see you on November 7th.
I'll talk to you between now and then. Thank you.
Yes,
Bye,
sir.
everybody.
Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.